All right, let's jump straight in. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most stunning, absolute total collapses in human history. We're heading back to 1812 to look at the death of Grande Arme. But listen, we're not going to treat this like some dusty, standard military history lesson where we just memorize tactics and battlefield maps. Instead, we're going to look at this systematically. We are going to deconstruct what is, at its absolute core, a compounding logistical disaster of just epic proportions. To actually wrap our heads around the scale of what we're talking about, we've got to start with this massive number, 600,000 men. That was the size of the invading force embarking on the Russian campaign. When you hear a number like that in the context of the early 19th century, it's honestly kind of hard to process. You're essentially talking about picking up the entire population of a major European city, like Paris at the time, and moving them across a continent on foot and horseback. It represents a breathtaking level of ambition and, frankly, incredible hubris. Moving an army of that magnitude requires absolute perfection in planning, and it basically assumes that reality is just going to bend to your will. So the crucial point is 20,000. Out of that massive, seemingly unstoppable juggernaut of 600,000 men, only 20,000 survivors actually made it back to friendly territory intact. That is a staggering, almost incomprehensible drop-off. The gap between that first massive number and this tiny fraction is essentially our crime scene for today. It creates a massive, dramatic knowledge gap for us. Like, what could possibly eradicate that many people in a single military campaign without some defining, apocalyptic final battle? To figure that out, here's our game plan. We're going to treat this historical event like a forensic investigation and trace this compounding disaster step by step. We'll start with the grand illusion, move right into famine and exhaustion, check out the biological failure, hit the sub-zero collapse, and finally tally up the devastating aftermath. All right, part one, the grand illusion. It's really a story of man versus nature. Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast in how these soldiers actually died. When you command hundreds of thousands of highly trained troops, it's incredibly easy to believe you're invincible against any human enemy. We naturally picture huge battle casualties on open fields when we think of vast armies being destroyed back then, right? We imagine massive clashes, musket fire, artillery. But the narrative here isn't actually man versus man. It's man versus the harsh limits of reality. It was invisible killers, not enemy soldiers, that systematically dismantled this colossal force. Preparing purely for a conventional war was their first major illusion. Which brings us to part two, famine and exhaustion, the total breakdown of basic sustenance. This is where we take our first step down a really dark, descending staircase of doom. Logistical failure is the deadly consequence of a 600,000-strong force simply outrunning its own supply lines. Long before the infamous freezing cold ever became a factor, there was a complete and total breakdown of basic human sustenance. And honestly, it's just a fundamental law of physics. As the army marched deep into hostile territory, they got hit by heavy summer rains. The dirt roads turned into deep, impassable mud. The heavy supply wagons literally couldn't keep up with the marching infantry. Horses began dying by the thousands just from pulling through the muck without fresh forage. So the immediate result wasn't just creeping hunger, it was profound, acute physical exhaustion across the entire force. The men's bodies simply began to give out because they were burning thousands more calories a day than they could possibly consume. And that leads directly into part three, the biological failure. Their defenses were totally compromised. You see, when you have hundreds of thousands of starving, profoundly exhausted men marching shoulder to shoulder, their immune systems just completely collapse. The stage is perfectly set for the next invisible killer. And these causes of collapse, they are entirely compounding. The breakdown of supply lines forced guys to drink from stagnant puddles and sleep in cramped, unwashed camps. That weakness fed directly into rampant disease, specifically typhus, which spread like wildfire via body lice in these crowded camps, and dysentery from the contaminated water. These diseases began to absolutely tear through the ranks. These weren't just isolated medical problems, it was a devastating chain reaction. The logistical failures made the men entirely susceptible long before the first snowflake ever fell. So now we hit part four, the sub-zero collapse, the freezing catastrophe. We have to shift our perspective a bit here because the situation transitions from a severe crisis into just absolute freezing horror for the retreating survivors. Sub-zero temperatures delivered a crushing final blow to an army that was already hollowed out from the inside. We're talking about brutal temperature drops plunging to minus 30 degrees Celsius. You have to imagine this extreme weather acting not on healthy, well-equipped soldiers in proper winter gear, but on men wearing summer uniforms who had virtually no body fat left to burn for internal heat. They were literally freezing in their tracks overnight. Nature was basically just finishing off what logistics and disease had already started. Let's move along and see how this builds across the calendar, because it's pretty wild. The collapse actually starts in the heat of the summer, which is exactly when the exhaustion begins due to that rapid, undersupplied march through the mud. Then, in early autumn, the disease peaks, ravaging the already weakened ranks with typhus and dysentery. It's only after all of that, in the dead of winter, that those minus 30-degree temperatures hit. It perfectly plots out exactly when each of our three killers peaked. It is absolutely crucial to understand that this was a prolonged, multi-seasonal collapse, not just some sudden, unexpected winter freeze. The army was dying way before they were freezing. Which brings us to our final section, Part 5, the devastating aftermath. And this brilliantly illustrates the terrifying math of it all, letting us truly process the end of La Grande Armée. The ultimate fate of those 600,000 men is staggering. Look at this. An overwhelming 85% of the army was lost purely to disease, weather, and exhaustion. Only 12% were actual battle deaths from combat. That leaves a razor-thin 3%, just those 20,000 survivors who actually made it back to friendly territory. Nature and logistics didn't just beat this army, they completely dwarfed standard warfare. So I want to leave you with this final, haunting question. What is the ultimate cost of outrunning your own supply lines? The total destruction of La Grande Armée isn't just a random piece of 1812 trivia. It's a brutal, timeless lesson about the absolute necessity of logistical planning and the incredibly deadly price of human hubris when facing the uncompromising forces of nature. Keep this reality in mind the next time you think about the vast movements of history. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope it helped you see the past just a little more clearly.